Go inside the Crimson Tide. Tider Insider TV with Rodney Orr and Gary Harris.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome into another edition of Tider Insider TV. Alongside Rodney Orr from TiderInsider.com, I'm Gary Harris. Our program is presented each and every week by Buffalo Rock Bottling Company. Tonight, again, Diet Pepsi, and that's just a part of the program I love. Opening up that ice-cold Diet Pepsi. We'll be enjoying that throughout the show. And remember, you need to enjoy great Pepsi products from Buffalo Rock all season long and the off-season, too. And speaking of the off-season, it's kind of begun, Rodney, and the next time Alabama takes the practice field, it'll be August. They'll be getting ready for the September 3rd season opener against Kent State. Spring drills wrapped up on Saturday with the annual A-Day game. Let's go ahead and take a look. Crimson won the game 14-10 over the White. Of course, score is secondary. It was pretty vanilla. But we saw, again, an example of the kind of recruiting that has been done around here as you watch Trent Richardson, who had a huge day receiving and rushing, but a lot of big, strong, fast athletes all over the field, not just one deep, but two deep, and in some cases three deep. Your overall thoughts on this game from what you saw in the spring in general?
Well, first of all, Gary, you're talking about how deep they are. I mean, when you look at the quarterback spot, I mean, how many times has Alabama had a guy like A.J. McCarron, Phillip Sims, as young as they are? And not only that, I was extremely impressed with the way Blake Sims handled himself. Coming in, playing some, he seemed very confident. He looks like a guy that could probably be one of those Wildcat-type quarterbacks.
Speaking of the quarterbacks, just like really from everything we've gathered throughout the spring, we saw more of that on Saturday, and that is McCarron and Sims do a lot of things very similarly. There's not a lot of separation between those two guys. Nick Saban indicated again that there is the possibility, there might not be separation in the fall, and again, the possibility that both guys could play.
Well, and again, we've talked about that quite a bit throughout the spring, Gary, before even leading up to spring practice about, both these guys are extremely talented. Both of them probably deserve to play, and it wouldn't be a surprise if they both do. Now, what kind of rotation will there be? Who would know? But certainly it's going to be an interesting battle when fall camp picks up.
An interesting move I want to talk to you about. We talked with Barrett Jones. You did as well after the game, and a class act is the first thing you notice about Barrett Jones. But just a few days before the A-Day game, he moves from right guard to left tackle. Right guard where he's played his entire career at an all-star level, and then started in the A-Day game with the first-team offense at left tackle. What does that say about that position? And do you think it will now be his job in the fall, or could McCullough and/or Aaron Douglas still make a move there? How do you see left tackle?
Well, I think what it says, Gary, is that they're trying to find the best 5 players for the offensive line, and they moved Barrett Jones over there. And what a great job he did on Courtney Upshaw, by the way. Tremendous job. The only time I saw Barrett get beat was by Jarrell Harris on one particular play, but at the same time, he did a tremendous job. And you look at what Anthony Steen did, who started the games when Barrett was out last season at the end of the year as a redshirt freshman. Now as a sophomore, I know there's a lot of expectations about Anthony Steen. He was a tremendous high school prospect, and so they're just trying to get the best 5 offensive linemen on the field. Now, what happens in the fall? Let's see how Aaron Douglas progresses. Let's see what they decide to do, with Alfred McCullough. But at the same time, I think right now that looked like a pretty solid offensive line.
Finally, defensively, a lot of talent, particularly in the linebacking core and the secondary. Up front on defense, there is some concerns. Marcel Darius is moving on to the NFL. There are some guys that have played some football there. Obviously, Courtney Upshaw, who falls into that hybrid range of defensive end linebacker, but Josh Chapman's a veteran at the nose, but still looking for some pass rushers. Did Ed Stinson step up there? How do you see this defensive line playing out?
Well, they were getting pressure on the quarterback. It looked like Dante Hightower's back to his old self, and certainly Courtney Upshaw, but he did not do a whole lot in the A-Day game with Barrett Jones did a fantastic job, as we mentioned. But, you look at Damian Square. He's a guy that physically looks a lot better than he did last year, at least to me. And I think he's a year older and I think more mature. And he's also gained a lot of confidence, Gary, because he's taken off that knee brace. He feels better about the knee. He missed most of the year before 2009, the national championship year, when he tore that knee up. So he's gained a lot of confidence. And again, people say, well, what about Jesse Williams and Quentin Dye? You have to remember, they just came out of the junior college ranks, and sometimes it takes some time to get acclimated to the system, and as time goes on, those guys will get better and better.
Yeah, it'll be huge for them, too, that they went through the spring. They'll make a lot of improvement in August when the team kicks back up again with fall drills. All right, more from Saturday now. You know, the game is only part of the Alabama 8A experience. Before kickoff, the 2010 captains, Greg McElroy, Dante Hightower, and Mark Barron, were enshrined on the Walk of Fame at Denny Chimes. And a short time thereafter, later at the Walk of Champions, the Nick Saban statue was unveiled as thousands of fans looked on. Coach Saban says it's his statue, but it represents a lot more people than just him. In essence, the entire 2009 staff, players, and just everybody that made up that national championship are represented in this beautiful bronze statue.
Whether it's, you know, players, coaches, our administration, and our fans, and everybody who contributed to that. And, you know, it's an honor, but it's also something that is just representative of a lot of people.
More football later in the show, but right now it's time to talk about the NCAA Gymnastics National Champions. Alabama returned home to Tuscaloosa on Sunday evening. The team arrived right around 8:15 in Tuscaloosa on Sunday night, and of course we were there along with hundreds of fans to welcome home the national champions from Cleveland, where they captured the school's 5th national championship on Saturday afternoon. In addition, junior Geraldine Stack Eaton won the individual NCAA championship on the floor exercise on Sunday. As you can imagine, it was a happy group of people at that Tuscaloosa airport, and this is a program right now that epitomizes success both in competition and in the classroom. They're riding high.
And I'm so proud of this team. You know, it was by far one of the closest championships that we've ever been in terms of, it was like a heavyweight boxing match at the end with us and UCLA. And, you know, this team has had an amazing journey this year, and I couldn't be more proud of them. They are truly champions.
It's really amazing. You know, we had such a long trip, and everybody's exhausted, but it was definitely worth it. And I'm just really excited to be back. And in Tuscaloosa, coming back from Cleveland was a great trip.
Welcome back. Listening to the gymnasts right there, Geraldine Stack Eaton and Sarah Patterson. And Rodney, you know, anybody that's an Alabama fan, read your forum. It's a real popular thing on Tider Insider. A lot of talk about the Nick Saban statue and whether or not it's time to erect a Sarah Patterson statue, maybe in front of Coleman Coliseum. After all, she's not won 1, 2, 3, or 4, but 5 national championships to her credit. Her players, or GPAs, are off the charts. They're successful citizens. A lot of discussion about that. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, I can certainly see that. I think she deserves it. 5 national championships, Gary, that's pretty dominant.
It could happen. She's already in the Alabama Sports Hall of Fame. Congratulations to the Alabama Gymnastics team on a 5th NCAA National Championship. Well, up next on Titv, Rodney's Recruiting Report. We'll take an up-close look at the Tide's newest commitment for 2012 and discuss some of the visitors that were here for A-Day. And later on in the program, the sounds of spring football 2012. This is some really good stuff. You don't want to miss it. And of course, later on, we'll get to your phone calls and your emails. There's the information on the screen that you need to get in touch with us here on the program. Give us a call or send us an email. We'll talk to you later on in the program. You're watching the show that takes you inside the Crimson Tide, Tider Insider TV, presented by Buffalo Rock. Welcome back to Tider Insider TV. Alongside Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Time to talk football recruiting first. We're going to talk about the latest commitment. You pretty much said last week on your site that if everything went well for Ryan Anderson of Daphne High School over the weekend, the expected commitment. Indeed, we got it. The outstanding pass rushing prospect out of Daphne High School. I've got him listed as a defensive end there, 6'2", 248, Rodney, but he's another one of these hybrid guys and has drawn favorable comparisons to Courtney Upshaw.
Well, you know, I've been talking to the coaches down there at Daphne for quite a while, and they've been telling me, watch out for Ryan Anderson, that he's been playing down, Gary, in high school, and a lot of schools want to see him standing up, kind of like a Courtney Upshaw in that jack linebacker position type role. And Alabama went ahead and offered him recently, and he went ahead and pulled the trigger, didn't waste any time.
So I mentioned the Upshaw comparison. Is that, I mean, obviously that's favorable to him. Is he that talented of a player potentially, do you think?
Well, I think so. I think he has tremendous speed. You know, he's been clocked at 4.62 in the 40, so that's outstanding speed. You look at that size. He's a lot bigger than Courtney Upshaw when Courtney came, you know, was coming out of high school, at least a little bit bigger anyway in terms of the weight. But anyway, I think he's an outstanding prospect. There's no doubt about it, his ability to run.
Already 11 commitments for the class of 2012. Wow, they are filling up this class in a hurry. Okay, obviously we can't mention every visitor for A-Day or visitors that were here last week prior to A-Day, but we're going to run down some key guys that people are interested in. Let's start again with this very intriguing prospect out of Oxford, Mississippi, Jeremy Liggins, 6'4", 250 pounds. Yes, he's a quarterback. Obviously, he could factor in somewhere else, but this is a guy that a lot of people want in Alabama, is right there at the top of the list.
Well, and you mentioned quarterback. He's from Lafayette County there, just outside of Oxford. And remember, people say, well, how are you going to pull him away from Ole Miss? But Alabama got Justin Woodall and Jeffrey Dukes from the same high school. But Jeremy Liggins wants to play quarterback, or at least wants to get a look at that position. Gary, as you look at him, you can tell he's going to be really big by the time he gets going here or wherever he decides to go. But Alabama's the leader for Jeremy Liggins. He's one of the top prospects, not only in Mississippi, but in the Southeast. Could also play tight end, could play linebacker. But again, he wants to look at quarterback.
Chris Black, the speedy wide receiver out of Jacksonville, Florida, was here over the weekend. Now, a lot of people, most people, say Florida's the team to beat here. Has Alabama made up ground?
I tell you what, right now, as of today, I say Alabama's the team to beat. And a lot of people think Florida State's in the mix really strongly, too. In fact, we talked to Chris yesterday, and we've talked to him several times, in fact. But, Alabama, FSU are really high on his list. And I think, Gary, that right now, as we speak, that Alabama's, I don't want to say, they're a definite, but they're certainly very, very, very strongly in the mix with Chris Black. Wow. And he's one of the top players, not only in the state of Florida, but in the country.
Right, no doubt about it. A couple of teammates out of Baltimore, Maryland. We'll start with Cyrus Jones, the defensive back.
First of all, he's an outstanding all-around athlete, Gary. He's very dynamic on offense. Alabama likes him as a cornerback. I've talked to their coaching staff quite a bit. In fact, talked to them today. And they had a great visit, Cyrus Jones and two of his teammates. I know we're going to talk about one coming up, but Cyrus has got offers from all over. Alabama's certainly near the top of his list. I know he met with Coach Saban while he was here over the weekend and had a tremendous visit. So, we'll see what happens. But he is a very good-looking cornerback prospect. And
Brian Gaya, a very athletic offensive lineman from the same school here.
Same high school. And he has a lot of offers. Penn State, a lot of schools up in that area have offered him. I think he's an excellent prospect. Could play center, could play guard. But, when you look at him, Alabama has not offered him yet. But he is going to come to camp this summer, hopes to earn an offer at camp. And again, he is a good interior offensive line prospect.
So much recruiting now for Alabama is done around the country. Let's talk about an in-state prospect, a defensive lineman, big hoss down at Escambia County High School there in Atmore, Tyler Nero. You
remember in the early 90s, his dad, Norman Nero, was an outstanding running back at the same high school. Highly recruited. Alabama, Auburn, several other schools, ended up going to Arkansas. As I mentioned, Norman Nero, but this is his son, Tyler Nero. He's an outstanding prospect, 6'2", 290. They say handheld 4.67, Gary. I mean, that's almost unbelievable to say that he's running that fast, but that's what they say. And, he's an excellent prospect. Alabama, Florida State, Auburn, some other schools have already offered. Arkansas, obviously, his dad's alma mater. But, Tyler says that he's probably leaning towards the in-state schools, Alabama and Auburn at this point.
And we're going to wrap it up with a 2013 prospect, but everybody already knows about D. Liner out of Muscle Shoals High School.
Yeah, D. Liner is a D lineman, and he's an excellent one, 6'3", 265. He's only a sophomore. Will be a junior next year. Auburn's already offered. Kentucky's offered. He visited here last Thursday for Alabama's practice. Had a great visit. Really enjoyed the opportunity to meet Coach Rump, the defensive line coach, and he's going to be a highly recruited prospect, Gary. When you're talking about a couple of years down the road, he'll be a top 3, 4, 5 prospect in the state, one of the top defensive linemen in the Southeast.
All right, that's our weekly recruiting update. When we come back, we're going to take some phone calls, so go ahead and get through now so you can get on the line. We'll put you on hold, and we'll take some calls, and also we'll have the sounds of spring from the University of Alabama when we return to Tider Insider TV. If you have been following Alabama football under Nick Saban the way we have, the coach can get pretty animated when you put a microphone in front of him. It can be downright funny at times. With that said, it's our pleasure to present the sounds of spring from the University of Alabama.
And we don't have any decisions about it, so you can continue to ask me and I'll continue not to tell you anything about it. And I'm fine with that both ways, as long as you're fine with it. Or you can just not ask and I'll tell you when I get ready to tell you.
What do you expect it to look like?
Probably coach on there. He probably doing some type of yelling or who knows. It's either yelling or a little smile or something.
Coach, a question from the Australian media here. We're quite fascinated in Australia how Jesse Williams turned up here. I'm just wondering if you could tell us how you spotted him.
And we're very, very pleased and happy to have him here. And, you know, I like the Australian connection. I'll just be honest with you. Mate, when they think about it and they do it, they're playing pretty decent. When they revert back to bulla ball, I call it, they're not very good. To be a dangerous, competitive player, that comes from a relentless ability to be consistent in what you do regardless of what happened on the play before. That's in all athletics, you know. I mean, even if you play golf, you know, if you hit a bad shot, you got to play the next one. That's the most important shot. If you hit a great shot, you still got to play the next one. Well, they don't have any time off the field. They take every rep. That black shirt just means you don't hit anybody. It doesn't mean you don't take the reps.
I meant minus contact.
No, they do everything but thud them when they get to them.
It's no number one spot, man. We have backs. Like, everybody's good, so ones go down, we have another one.
I was half kidding Coach Saban. He doesn't know it yet, but I told him, you know, my kid's a sophomore in high school, and I'm going to bring him to Alabama because I want him to learn football. You know, he wants to be a coach and all that. You know, Alabama's not going to be excited about it. He's probably not a great player, but he's a good one.
I don't care if it's effort that they give, toughness that they give, ability to focus and execute, however you want to break it down, then, you know, if we have somebody else, we'll replace them.
Entertaining. John Huddleston put that together. Good piece. All right, let's go right to the phone. CB, our good buddy, is waiting for us in Tuscaloosa. CB, how are you?
Fine, gentlemen. I tell you, congratulations to the gymnastics. That's just unbelievable, all I got to say about that. The old baseball team, I tell you, we had a great crowd Saturday, and it was a nightmare game, and we've got, of course, they got to hold their head up, and we're pulling for them. It's just, you know, it's just rough. Them two guys, it's unbelievable. Anyhow, we got it going. It's going to be tough now, and they got to get it together.
Yeah, CB, it's going to. They're 8-7 after starting out 7-1. You got to go to Florida this weekend. Of course, playing a non-conference game at Sanford tonight, but. You know, they don't have a lot of offense. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. They've hit the ball in some games a little better than I expected, but what we saw against Tennessee on Saturday, you're not going to win games when you score 1 run and 0 runs. They gave up 3 runs in a doubleheader and got swept. That's not good, and they're going to have to try to find a way to score some runs, or it could wind up being a long season for the baseball team. All right, let's go to Robert and Jasper. Robert, welcome in. Hey, Robert. Hello? Turn your television down, Robert. All right, Robert, a reminder, folks, turn your TV down. We're on a delay. If you have it up, you're going to get all messed up. He wants to know about Robbie Green and his status, Rodney.
Well, there's been no official announcement that I've heard. And, you know, again, he was suspended until Nick Saban makes a little more definite statement. There's no way to predict what might happen.
Just going to have to wait and see what his status is in the fall. Let's stay in Tuscaloosa and talk to Bill. Bill, welcome in to Titv.
Hey, Gary and Rodney, how are y'all today?
Hey, BT, what's up, my friend?
Doing good, buddy. I mean, I want to know about those 2 guys that's been transferred, or I didn't hear what you said.
You're talking about Kendall Durant and Jason Carter, announced last week by Alabama head coach Anthony Grant that they will not be returning to the program in 2011-2012. Durant, a junior college transfer, the cousin of Kevin Durant, a lot shorter, stockier player, but was hurt most of the year, didn't play much. And then Jason Carter, a guy they had high hopes for out of the Dallas, Texas area, 6'8" power forward, showed some talent, but didn't work out for either one of those guys. So a lot like the football program with Nick Saban around here with Anthony Grant, there's going to be some people that don't make it because it's going to be a tight ship that's being run for Alabama basketball. But a great recruiting class coming in for the Tide, so those guys, though, will have to move on somewhere else. All right, we're going to take a time out. More questions and emails right after this. Stay with us. Titv rolls on, and let's go right back to the phones. James in Rainbow City is with us. James, welcome in, my friend.
Hey, guys.
Hey, James.
I'd like to make a comment about our gymnastic coach.
Sure.
Coach Patterson. I think that, yes, she should be honored. I mean, anytime that you win 5 championships in whatever sport that you're in at the college level, I mean, you got to be exceptional and have to put in a lot of work. Alabama, I think they are going to be the next title town. I mean, from the looks of the basketball program, it's going good. And I was really pleased with what I seen at A-Day game. I mean, it's just wonderful things going on with Alabama.
Yeah,
right
James,
now.
you make some great points. The athletic program under Mal Moore's leadership, very strong right now from top to bottom. And you're right, too, James. I think Rodney and I've already said for the record, Sarah Patterson has done a marvelous job, and not just with you know, this year's team, but think about the consistency, the longevity. She's had it all. It's been a really good run for her, and she's got a lot of years left, I think, as the head coach at Alabama. Let's go to center, also over there in Northeast Alabama, and talk with LD. LD, welcome in.
Hello. I was wondering how it was going in recruiting in basketball.
Yeah, LD. Well, first of all, Anthony Grant's already signed a top 15 type class. He's got the 2 in-state players, Levi Randolph and Rodney Cooper, both about 6'5", 6'6", rangy shooters, can make some perimeter shots, which is what his team is looking for. 6'8", 250-pound high school power forward Nick Jacob out of Atlanta, and then Musa Gai, a 7-foot junior college center. Now, the cherry on top, as we've been talking about, would be Trevor Lacey. Outstanding point guard, #1 prospect in the state from Butler High School in Huntsville. Kentucky's in there. Kansas is in there. Auburn's still recruiting. Mark Gottfried at North Carolina State trying to get in there, but Alabama's right in the mix. I think Trevor's going to wait a couple more weeks, but there are some other guys I'm sure that they're recruiting, but Trevor Lacey is the key guy, and if Alabama gets him, this class becomes a top 10 class nationally, and you can't do much better than that. Let's squeeze RW from Carrollton is with us. RW, you're on TITV.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Trevor Lacey also, and also Kiwan Alexander, if that's the right name. What are our chances with him?
All right, let's start with Trevor Lacey. I just mentioned him again, but it's going to be a battle. Now, I think he's always kind of like Kentucky through the process. The key there could be Brandon Knight. If Brandon Knight comes back, my guess is that Trevor Lacey won't go to Kentucky. If that freshman point guard announces early for the NBA, that would help Kentucky's chances. But he was here for A-Day. I think he loves Anthony Grant. I think Alabama, in my opinion, right now is the team to beat. But we're just going to have to wait and see with him. Those high-profile recruits take their time. Quan Alexander, what's the latest on
well, excellent
player here now?
Yeah, excellent linebacker from Oxford. Gary, he's highly recruited. We've talked about him several times, and I think when you look at him, Alabama, as you mentioned with Trevor Lacey, he's probably the team to beat at this point. But other schools are making a strong run.
All right, we'll be back to wrap it up right after this. Thanks for the calls. That's going to do it for the program tonight. Thanks for joining us. It's dinner time tonight. Buddy's Rib and Steak in Northport. Join us for dinner. It's one of our favorite places. We'll be there in about 15 minutes. For Rodney Orr, I'm Gary Harris. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.